Here guys, so I have made you another video to help you with converting fractions because I knew that was probably going to be a little bit more of a difficult skill for you this week. But once you pick up on the steps, you should be able to hopefully be able to figure out how to convert, how to go from mixed to improper, and then improper back to mixed. So let's start with mixed to improper. First of all, you got to remember that a mixed number includes a whole number and a fraction. So if I had the number, let's say 3 and 2. Okay, let's say I had that as my mixed number. 3 is the whole number, 2/5, of course, is your fraction. Here's what you do in order to be able to go from mixed to improper. And I have put several videos for you to watch on the YouTube channel this week. But what you've got to do to go from mixed to improper, remember, improper means that you're going to have the bigger number on top. Your numerator is going to be bigger than your denominator. And so how you do this is there's a couple steps to follow. You start with your whole number. And you're going to take the 3 and multiply it by the 5. So you're going to go from the 3 to the 5, and you're going to multiply. So your first step would be to think, okay, I'm going to think, okay, 3 times 5. And this is why we have been practicing multiplication and division as well. We'll do division in just a second when we go from improper to mixed. You've got to know your multiplication and division facts in order to be able to work with fractions. What is 3 times 5? Well, 3 times 5 is 15, okay? You're going to take your 15. So we multiplied first. We did 3 times 5. We got 15. Now we're going to take that 15 that we got, and we're going to add this time. We're going to add the 2, okay? So 3 times 5 was 15. Now, 15 plus that 2 is what? Yeah, 17. And so what you do, you take the number you get. You're kind of working around in a circle. You start from the whole, you multiply by the denominator, then you add the numerator, okay? And you just kind of work around the mixed number in a circle. So I got that was 17. You keep the same denominator, okay? The denominator does not change. So 3 and 2/5, when you get to an improper, it becomes 17/5. Okay? All right, let's do another one. This time, and I encourage you to, actually this time, let's pause the video and get you a piece of paper or a whiteboard or something, and let's do some practice together because you need some hands-on practice being able to do this week. So pause the video and get you something to work with. All right, so let's write down 4 and 2/6. Now remember, we're doing mixed to improper. 4 and 2/6. Okay, and we want to change that to an improper fraction. So your first step, remember, is to multiply. Okay, and we're going to take the whole number by the denominator. Okay, and we're going to multiply. So we're going to work around our circle. So what is 4 times 6? I hope you said 24 because 4 times 6 is 24. Okay, we're not done yet. That's not the answer. Remember, this time you're going to take your 24 and we're going to add the numerator. So we're going to add this time. So we're going to add 2. So what is 24 plus 2? Good, you get 26. We have worked all the way around our circle. We started with the 4, we multiplied by the 6, the denominator. We added the 2, the numerator. We've worked around the number, so we are done. So I said 4 times 6 was 24, plus that 2 gave me 26. That now becomes my numerator. Remember, the denominator stays the same. So 26/6 would be the improper fraction. Okay, of course, if I get ahead of you guys, remember you can pause this at any time to get caught up. All right, oops, I'm sorry, didn't mean to do that. Let's take and let's do another one. Let's do 8 and 3/4. 8 and 3/4, and I want to change that to an improper fraction. All right, so let's take care of our first step. Tell me, what's the first step? What do you do? All right, good. You're going to multiply. You're going to multiply your whole number by the denominator. So we're going to multiply 8 times 4. We'll start working around our circle. And what do you get? What is 8 times 4? All right, you get 32. We're not done yet. What's the next step? You add the numerator. You add the 3. So we go from our 32. We're going to come up here and we're going to add this time. So we multiplied first and we got 32. What is 32 plus 3? Good. 32 plus 3 is 35. That becomes your numerator over here. And remember, your denominator stays the same. It does not change. So your mixed number of 8 3/4 became 35/4. Okay. Let's do one more together, and then we're going to practice going from improper to mixed. This one, let's do 7 2/5. Pause the video and see if you can go ahead and take and figure out what the improper fraction would be for 7 2/5. So pause the video and go ahead and work on this one for a minute, and then we'll go over it. All right, so let's check your work and see what you got for 7 2/5. Your first step, remember, is to multiply your whole number 7 by the 5. And when you multiply 7 times 5, you get 35 as the product. That's not your answer yet, though. Remember, your next step, once you multiply, you're just going to come up here and add the numerator, which is 2. So I'm going to add 2 to this number. 35 plus 2 gives me 37. So 37 should have become your numerator. And remember, the denominator stays the same, so the 5 does not change. So the improper fraction should have been 37/5. Okay? All right, let's switch gears just a little bit. Let's talk about how we go from improper, this over here. Let's talk about how we get from the improper back to a mixed number, okay? So this time, we're going to go from improper to a mixed number. Now remember, improper means that you have a bigger number on top. The numerator is bigger than the denominator. So let's write, and let's say 17, let me check, hang on. Let's say 17/3, okay? And you can work along with me on this as well. 17/3 is an improper fraction because the numerator is much bigger than the denominator, okay? So here's what we do, and to get it to a mixed number, remember mixed, we're going to need a whole number and a fraction. Here's where your division skills come in. This is why I asked you to make sure you showed your remainder when we were doing the long division, because you're going to be able to need to do this. There's 2 different ways you can do this. Okay, I'm going to show them both ways to you. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to show you a long division. I'm going to set up a long division because this is what this really means. 17 divided by 3. That's what this is one way. Remember, you can write a division problem is by using a fraction. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to set it up as a long division problem, and I'm going to say 17 divided by 3. Okay. How many times will 3 go into 17 without going over 17? Remember, you have to think. 3 times what will get me close to 17? 3 times 3 is 9. It's not close enough. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. Well, 6 is too big because that would be 18. So I'm going to go with 5 because 3 times 5 is 15. So I'm going to say that 3 will go into 17 5 times. And remember, you have to write it over the ones place here, not the tens. 3 will go into 17 5 times. Now I'm going to multiply. I just did my multiplying up here. I'm going to use that multiplication down here in my division. 5 times 3 is 15. Now remember, all you have to do is subtract to get your remainder. 7 minus 5 is 2. 1 minus 1, of course, is 0. You have to remember to write your remainder up here because that's going to be important over here in your mixed number in a minute. Okay? All right, so here's what we do. To get a mixed number, I'm going to use my quotient up here, my answer. 3 will go into 17 5 whole times. It'll go 5 whole times. It'll get me close to 17 without going over. It got me to 15. This remainder is going to be your numerator. So I'm going to use this 2 right here as my numerator. There were 2 left over. And remember, the denominator does not change. Just like when we were doing mixed to improper, the denominator does not change. So I keep the 3. So 17 thirds becomes 5 2/3 because 3 would go into 17 5 times. I had 2 left over, and it was already split into thirds for me. Okay? All right. Let's do another one. Let's practice another one. Let's do 25 sevenths. Let's do this one together. 25 sevenths. All right. You could, now, when I did this one, the other way I could have said, you could do it in your head. If you can do it in your head without showing the long division, then by all means do it. You could say, okay, I know 3 will go into 17. 3 times 5, that gets me 15. Plus those 2 that I had left over, 16, 17. And then, of course, you would have your thirds. You could do it in your head if you can, but I'm pretty sure most of you are going to want to make sure you show your long division until you get really used to this skill. I know 3 would go into 17 5 times. That'd be my whole number. 2 left over becomes my numerator. And then, of course, it's in thirds. Okay? All right. So 25 sevenths. I'm going to set up a long division. I'm going to say 25 divided by 7. How many times will 7 go into 25 without going over? 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28. That's too big, so I have to use 3. So I'm going to put a 3 here. So 7 will fit into 25 3 times without going over. So let's use that, what we just said here, 7 times 3. Let's use that multiplication fact, okay? 7 times 3 is 21. And then we're going to set up our subtraction. 5 minus 1 is 4. 2 minus 2, of course, is 0. Don't put anything there. So this is your remainder. Remember, you knew it's a remainder when this number here is smaller than your divisor over here. So I have a remainder of 4. Use your quotient to help you write your mixed number. So the whole number, it will go into it 3 whole times. It left me with 4. That was my remainder. That becomes your numerator. You keep the same denominator. So 3 4 sevenths. Okay. Let's see if we can squeeze in one more problem before my 15-minute time limit runs up. Let's do 33 sixths. And I'm going to go through this one because I only have a couple minutes left. Let's go ahead and do this one. And you can pause the video to go back and catch up on this one. But I'm going to go ahead and show you one more example. 33 sixths. 33 divided by 6. Well, 6 will go into 33. Let's see. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. So I'm going to use 6 times 5 is 30. Okay. So I'm going to say 6 will fit into 33 5 whole times. 5 times 6 is 30. I'm going to subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. 3 minus 3, of course, is 0. Don't put anything there. So this is my remainder because it's smaller than my divisor. So remainder 3. So I use my quotient to write my mixed number. So I have a whole of 5. 6 will fit into 33 5 whole times. And then it will leave me with 3. And then, of course, your denominator is already the 6th. So 5 3 6. 6 will fit into 33 5 whole times. That'll give me 30. And then you got your 31, 32, 33. That's where that remainder comes from. And then, of course, 6 was already there for your denominator. All right, I hope this video helps you continue practicing working on converting fractions from improper to mixed and mixed to improper.